we're going to talk about intentions. And so it's the beginning of the year, and we tend to do New Year's resolutions. And I stopped a long time ago because what I called them was, I'm just telling myself lies and I will be disappointed. So, setting intentions is very different for me for a number of reasons. I'm very gentle about it. It's an ongoing process, and I can always reset them. And so that's the difference for me, putting down the New Year's resolution thing and just being intentional about my life and what I do and how I live and move through this strange realm that we're all in. Dictionary definition of intention is an idea that you plan to carry out, an aim or a plan, a goal, an intent, or a purpose. So you guys were so spot on. Um, and so when I think of intentions, I think of how we're living in this world, and everybody is busy and their plate is full, and we got school and we have work and we have family issues, and everyone here tonight has other things that they're dealing with that we don't even know about and that maybe nobody else knows about. So the thing about it is to be very kind to yourself in your thinking.
Mhm.
And when you set a goal or an intention and you have a setback, to not beat yourself up. Or if I have an intention of getting up at 8 o'clock in the morning and walking and I don't do it, that I don't be hard on myself for it, that I give myself grace, and then the next time I do it. And if that's too much, then maybe I won't go out until 9 o'clock. And if that's too much, maybe I'll walk a half a mile instead of a mile. So we have to give ourselves the same grace, um, that we would somebody else. So when you, so the theme of the conference this year is, there is strength in your story. So I want to connect that with the fact that last week was Martin Luther King commemoration and it was Dream Week. And so that's why I'm talking
Mhm.
about connecting your dream to reality. If we don't dream, if we don't have that creative thought that I want to do this or I want to bring forth this in my life, then we're really, really stagnant. And it doesn't have to be big things, but it can be big things like Courtney's big thing. It can be something that seems small, like Alex getting us through the night, or anything in between. When we set an intention to move through something, to create something, to make something happen, it is all very, very, very important. The things that we think are small things are really huge. When we think about Alex showing up for us and um, being the technical person and getting us through this workshop, if this is the start of the conference and she's here for that, she's the kickoff lady. And that's a big deal. So we don't want to minimize the things that we do. Actually, we want to celebrate the little things because they inspire us to move through the larger things or to take the next step. So our stories, the things that have happened to us, our experiences, are the things that bring us to the moment where we say, I want to set this goal. I have an intent. I have an aim. I have a plan. It's our experiences, and our experiences are our story that make us say, for me, having been a single mother and knowing all too well all the crazy challenges that that brings is what inspired me to participate in the conference. It's what makes me feel like I can contribute something worthwhile because I know what moms go through. You don't have to be a single mom to struggle with raising children. Honestly, sometimes the stupid relationships I was in, I was better off when I was single. So we all have those goals and those aspirations. And if we don't, then we need to think about it. I think another thing that comes with intentions is that let's not compare our goals or our purpose or our plans to other people's because it's never going to match. We're either going to go high and think that we're superior, or we're going to fall short and think that we're inferior. And our wishes, our dreams are our own. Those are the openings of our heart that help us become the better versions of who we are, not better than somebody else. I just want to be a better version of Vanessa all the time. And so, very often, my intentions are very simple. Somebody said, enjoying the journey, connecting, finding that peace and joy in the day or the moment, or being kind to that person in the grocery store. They feel like little things, but sometimes things like that can change somebody's life in that day because everybody's struggling and kindness goes so far. So, we're going to explore our stories more in April, but we need to know that there is strength in your story and that you have a birthright to your dreams just by virtue of being here and believing in your dreams and trusting our intuition. That is so incredibly powerful. So, one of the things I'm going to do is we're going to look at somebody's intention and see how we can break it down to being less overwhelming and more doable. I have a girlfriend who is literally in the process of moving, and she's moving tomorrow. And so she calls me and she says, Vanessa, I'm overwhelmed. Da, 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 da. I'm like, just pack up a dresser. Don't think about packing up your entire apartment. Clean out the dresser and breathe through your nose while you're doing that so that it doesn't feel overwhelming. And while we're moving through life, we have to remember to rest, to sleep, to organize, to modify. I can have a goal, and if it feels like things are not working, I can adjust that goal. I can fall back. I can pull back. I can give myself an afternoon off. We live in this society that tells us, you got to do, you got to do, you got to do. If you're not doing, you're not deserving. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're deserving, no matter what we're doing or not doing. The other thing about an intention is the visualization part. And I heard a lot of you, and hey, listen, anybody jump in at any time. I'm going to talk for the whole next half an hour. But seeing yourself where you want to be. Close your eyes and picture that thing that you want to have. I've done a lot of workshops, and I did one with people talking about goals at one time. And somebody said they wanted a house. And I said, picture your house. Picture what color it is. Picture what color the front door is. Does it have a porch? Does it not have a porch? Is it a one level or a two level? And here's the thing, you might not get the house in your mind's eye, but the more you think about it, the more you focus on it, the more you open up the energy for that to show up. I used to walk around my neighborhood, and there was this house that had a yellow door. And I thought, it was just that right shade of yellow. And I thought, when I get a house, I'll paint my door yellow. So I held the vision of a house. I didn't end up with the house. I ended up with a condo that I couldn't paint my door at all, but I still ended up with that home. And so then I go come inside the home and I create the vision of what that welcoming home looks like. So you can always make those adjustments. And you have to remember that because if you're so rigid with it, then you will stress yourself out totally. And you have to give yourself grace for those breaks and those times where it doesn't seem like what you're trying to manifest is showing up. I've had things that I thought about 20, 30 years ago that I may have put in a little space in the back of my mind that showed up years later or decades later that I had forgot about. So as long as an intention and Dana, you talked about good intentions and bad intentions. As long as an intention is good and your heart is in the right place and you're not desiring to cause anybody harm, then it is okay to have those intentions. Any questions? Any thoughts? Any feedback about what I've said so far?
I just wanted to share when you mentioned about the visualized piece and opening up for it to be present in your life. So I mentioned that I work at the Y, and when I first started working there, I had the opportunity to go to a conference and learn more about the diversity, equity, and inclusion work that the Y does. And I met the person who oversees that department for YUSA. And I literally went up to them and said, I want to do what you do, but I want to do it for my association. And I kept saying that every year that that was my end goal and where I wanted to be. And so I say all that to say, starting 2025 is when I started this new role as the Association Director of
Wow,
Social Impact.
congratulations.
Thank you. And that was the role that I kept saying every year I wanted to get to. And so that visualization does a lot because it helped me push myself into spaces I probably wouldn't have gone into so that I could learn more from others that are doing the work. So that when I presented my case as to why we needed this role in our association, there was no way for them to argue it. So they were like, by the end of 2024, we're going to make this happen. And I was like, okay. And they did. So never give up is that thing, and always believe that it can happen, and lean on your support system, because I'm sure I've leaned on many people on this call and I continue to, because that's what your support system is there for. And if I always say, you can choose your support system. So if personally it's not available, know that there's always individuals out there that you can meet that will become a part of your support system. Your chosen family is what I say.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. So that is, when we think about the bigger intentions or the goals, then you think about what is your heart's fondest desire? What is that thing that will make you feel like you are fulfilling your purpose? Um, and so when I say fondest desire, of course, that's a big intention. That's a huge dream. And just like you said, you think about it, you talk to people about it, you write it down, you picture yourself being there. Um, so what I understand for myself is that it is about the energy. It is about the energy that we put out and how we open up ourselves to receiving energy. And so that is a powerful way to bring your dream to reality by seeing yourself there, by doing those little things. There's something called, there is something called, ooh, I didn't write it down. Um, It's writing. It's a kind of writing where you just keep writing what it is that you want. You do it in the morning, you do it in the afternoon, and you do it in the evening. It's called scripting. You write it on a piece of paper, you write it on a doodle that I will be. And instead of saying what I will be, say it as if it's in the present tense. I am participating in this. I am in school. I am um a massage therapist or whatever that thing is, so that it's not some far off dream that you're always getting to, but that you bring it into yourself. And so that's called scripting. And the visualization part is very, very important as well.
I like that you said that. I have a friend who is also friends with quite a few people in the Single Mothers Conference. She says that you should act as if it is so, even if it isn't so, until it becomes so. And it is true.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that saying, and I love when I feel really like, not like I'm gonna give up, but if you just feel a little discouraged, just saying that. So it's kind of like what you were just saying about scripting.
Yes.
It is so.
Our
Yep.
thoughts become things. And so we have to mind how we're thinking about ourselves and our worthiness. A lot of us come from circumstances that make us feel like, how do I get to be this? Who am I to think that I can be a PhD? Who am I to think that I could be a life coach? Who am I to think that I could head the DEI for an entire organization? And we have to understand that we are divine. We are perfect to be whatever our heart's fondest desire tells us that we can be. And believe that. And when we don't believe it, that's when the affirmations come. And that's one of the things that I am big on, doing those affirmations. And in the beginning, it can feel real crazy and real corny to look in the mirror and say, Vanessa, I love you. Vanessa, you are so beautiful. Vanessa, you are so thoughtful, and you deserve love and you deserve good things. But I'm telling you, it works. It absolutely lifts the energy, it lifts the vibration, and it makes me feel better and moves me toward the truth of who I am, which is divine and deserving of every good thing. And so I practice that. I practice telling myself how wonderful I am. That is not egotistical. Self love and self care is essential. If we want to give it back, if we want to give it out, we have to fill it up. Gigi talked about getting help, sharing those visions with people. Now, here's the caveat about sharing your visions with people. It has to be somebody that's cheerleader for you. It cannot be somebody that's going to be envious if you hit that mark. It can't be somebody that's going to jump into your misery with you. It has to be someone who authentically wants to see you succeed. And just like Gigi said, if you don't have somebody, doggone it, you better find somebody. Because we all, why, and I can say, oh, I did this by myself and nobody helped me. If it wasn't but the person that said, I see you, Vanessa, there have been people along the way that have lifted us up and saw in us sometimes that thing that we could not see in ourselves. And those are the people that you want to put yourself in the presence of. I learned a long time ago to not put myself in the presence of people who didn't bring out the best in me. So the measure is real simple. If I'm however I'm feeling, good, bad, up or down, if I hang out with you and I feel worse than I did when I came to spend time with you, and that happens more than a couple of times, I spend the time with you. You also don't want to share your intentions with people that are going to speak negativity over you. I don't give doggone who that is. So, and it can be somebody who's not supposed to do that. It could be your mother, and if you share a goal with them and they think, well, how do you think you're going to do that? And, you think you're better than us, or, I raised you kids and I was satisfied with that. And why do you have to be? Then you gotta fall back. You gotta fall back. We have to take care of our hearts and our spirits, and we have to nurture the essence of ourselves and be very protective of that. You have unlimited, we have, because listen, I'm still studying, I'm still practicing. I don't have it all together. And people that I counsel or people that I work with, they're like, well, what about you? Listen, some days I'm just as crazy as can be. Some days I gotta call somebody to talk me off the ledge. Some days I gotta go inside deep and remember who I am. Because we're all human. And so we have to remember to be very protective of our energy. The other thing we want to do is be mindful of our language. So I was the same girlfriend who's moving tomorrow, and she said it's so hard, and I said it's not hard. It's different. If we change the way we look at things, sometimes instead of saying I have to, we can say I get to. Even if it's something that we feel like is a lot. For example, doing the laundry. I can say I have to do the laundry as if it's a drudge, or I can say I get to do the laundry. If I get to do laundry, that means I have clothes. It means I have access to laundry detergent, a washing machine. So there's a benefit. If I said I have to cook dinner as opposed to I'm going to cook dinner or I get to cook dinner, that means people get fed. That's a benefit. So when we change our perspective and you say, oh, well, how's that going to change? It's the little things that build and build and build and boost and boost and boost and boost us higher and higher. Sometimes the big things take care of themselves. People support us in the big things and the emergencies. Those little day-to-day things are the things that just one more little thing can take you out. So we want to be mindful of the little things. And there's always a benefit, even paying that Pico bill, which is going to be crazy. The next one's going to be crazy because it's been so cold and I've been cranking that heat up. I get to pay that Pico bill because I got to be warm. And as a person who has worked with homeless people for decades, I don't take that for granted. I don't take the fact that there's somebody out there right now who would be ecstatic to be where I am in my humble abode. So I don't take it for granted. There's a benefit to the tasks that we do.
Vanessa, I like to say that the same thing with making your bed. Like, so many people don't have a bed. It's a gift. You wrap it up every morning and you unwrap it every night. And myself working with homeless as well, it's a gift. I get to make my bed. It's a beautiful thing.
So that takes me to the next thing, which is gratitude. Appreciating the things that we have. And I'm just going to say it like this. I believe God blesses me better when I appreciate the blessings that I've already received. So I don't, having a bed, having clean sheets on the bed, having a warm blanket on the bed, I don't take that for granted. I try to take care of the things and the people in my life. So we want to be grateful. How can we, so I have a friend that, and we talk about the struggles and the ups and downs, and we talk about how I'm probably going to be one of the most ignorant people in the country because I'm turning off the news. I don't need to bring that negativity into my spirit. So what I've chosen to do instead is we text each other before we sometime in the evening for things that we're grateful for. I want to be very active about being grateful for the gifts of abundance, gifts of the spirit, whatever feels like something to be grateful for. I don't want to take things for granted. So I want to be actively grateful. Somebody else said something. Life is a journey. It is to be live with gratitude, joy, and abundance. It goes like this, goes up and down, and sometimes it goes way down. And then sometimes it just comes up a little bit and goes back down again. And sometimes it goes up higher. We have to enjoy the process. Iyanla Van Sant wrote a book a long time ago called The Value in the Valley. When things get tough, what can I learn from it? What lesson can I learn so that when I get out of this valley, I don't go back into the valley? Or not, at least not into the same daggone valley. I'm going to flip into some other valleys from time to time, but maybe I won't keep going back into the same valley so many times. So very often when things are not going right, I ask myself, what am I supposed to learn from this? Who am I supposed to forgive? Is it today that I'm just supposed to forgive myself for the errors and judgment that I made or that I made? Or, when I hollered at my kids when they were just being age appropriate? Do I just need to forgive myself so that I feel better, so that I raise that energy and lift my vibration? When we lift our energy, because we're connected, we lift the energy of others as well. And it's very powerful. We women are very powerful beings, even when we don't feel like it. So, so the ups and downs or the detours of life, we're going to get where we're going in the right time, space, sequence. Sometimes we just can't see that far out. So we have to keep going gently. We have to remember to breathe intentionally, not just breathing to live, but taking in and pushing out those intentional breaths because they calm us down. Um, so, how do you keep going when you're weary? Because we all get weary. It's a weary time, let's face it. Sometimes we get weary with our circumstances. Sometimes we get world weary. How do we push through it? We get around people to bring out the best in us. We go around strangers in the grocery store and we smile at them and we let the lady that has two things or the lady that seems like she's tired go in front of us. We do something for someone else. The other things that we can do is focus on gratitude. We can call a friend, a positive friend, not somebody that's going to jump in the valley with us. Somebody that's going to send a rope or something down and help us come up. Um, and you don't beat yourself up. We all have setbacks. Sometimes we do what appears in a moment to be something foolish, and we become frustrated with ourselves. And we have to remember not to beat ourselves up and not to let anyone else beat us up. And then we do whatever spiritual thing works for us, whether it's walking, whether it's reading, whether it's crying, whether it's beating a pillow. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten in my car and rolled up the windows and hollered or sang like I thought I was Steven Tyler. I'm just saying, there's a lot of things that we can do to release the pressure valve and to be mindful of that. Like I said, the scripting, just writing. You can write, I feel angry. So there's a lot of things that we can do to or watch it what or cry. Hey, there's nothing wrong with letting yourself have sit down and have a good cry. Hugs are amazing too if you have somebody that can just give you a big hug. The thing about it is not to be so hard on yourself as you're making and taking this journey through life. Um, so I just want to talk a little bit about the inner critic, the saboteur, that part of us that tells us you can't do it. Why are you doing all this when you know it's not going to work out anyway? Even if you get that degree, you won't get the job. You're not pretty enough. You really think you're smart enough to do this? That little mean devil that beats us up. And we all have that. It's doubt, it's fear. And when that inner critic comes up, because eventually does, to find that inner best friend, the part of yourself that loves yourself and reminds yourself, oh, girl, yes, you can. Oh, yes, you absolutely deserve it. Nobody deserves it more than you. Take a breath. Keep on going. You might be late, but show up and be your inner best friend. Any questions? Anybody have any comments or questions?
I just want to say I've done the car thing. Sorry, I just wanted to share that. I've
Okay.
done the car thing and I've done all three in the car. I have gone in the car and cried, then screamed, then played one of my favorite songs as loud as I could and sang it the whole drive
And
at
you're
the
like,
top of
you're
my
on
lungs.
stage. That's it.
Yes, I was giving a concert in my car to anyone
That's
who
what's
drove
up.
by.
Yes. And sometimes people will look at me and say, that lady is crazy. And here's the thing. Um, I am. I'm weird. I'm corny. And I love it. Because when I embrace all those things about myself, it frees me up to be authentic. My
Mhm.
daughter actually bought me a mug that says, there can be no beauty without some strangeness.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what I'm saying is it's so freeing to be yourself. When I walk down the street and I might not even be listening to music, it might be a song playing in my head, and I might feel the need to do a little shimmy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do it because why not? It raises my energy, it raises my vibration, it makes me happier, and it gives other people permission to do the same thing, to be themselves. So, um, what I want to, so I talked about a lot of things, and what I want to leave you with this evening is start somewhere. It can be very tiny. It literally can be folding the laundry in the clothes dryer. It really can be hanging those curtains on that window that you just didn't feel like hanging. It could be watering your plants. Um, and then build on that. Be very kind to yourself. Don't give up. You don't have to go away and say, what did she say about this or what did she say about that? Because if you come to the Single Mothers Conference on April 5th, I'm going to bring this stuff back and we're going to talk about it in some more detail. So just remember to be very kind to yourself, to keep trying, ask for help, and enjoy the process.